Ever feel like your English learning is just stuck in a textbook? Well, this breakdown is for you. We're going to look at a completely different habit-based system that's all about unlocking real-world speaking confidence. So let's forget what you think fluency means, because we're diving into a whole new way of looking at it. So does this feel a little too real? You spend all this time with grammar books, you memorize huge lists of words, but then the moment you actually have to speak to someone, your mind just goes totally blank. You're not alone. It's a super common frustration. And that is exactly the problem this system is built to fix. You know, if what you've been doing isn't getting you the results you want, the answer isn't to just study harder. It's to change your method entirely. This whole system is built on a really simple but powerful idea. The key to unlocking your speaking skills is all about small, consistent, daily habits. Okay, before we jump into the habits themselves, we've got to do a quick mindset shift. I mean, you can't hit a target if you don't really know what you're aiming for, right? So let's talk about what fluency actually means. And I love this definition because it just takes all the pressure off. Fluency isn't about having a perfect native-sounding accent or never ever making a single grammar mistake. Nope. It's simply about getting your point across. It's about effective communication, not flawless perfection. Thinking about it like that makes the goal feel so much more real and achievable. And this really breaks down the difference, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the old way, just memorizing rules, chasing this impossible idea of perfection that keeps you stuck in study mode. But on the other side, you have this habit-based approach, which is all about actually using the language, integrating it into your life, and getting you out there speaking with confidence.
All right, so now that we're on the same page about what fluency really is, let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about the 5 core habits that make this whole system work.
Yep, just 5. And that's the beauty of this method. It's simple. You don't need to juggle 20 different things. You just need to focus on these core pillars, and they build on each other to create some serious momentum. So here's our roadmap. We've got the daily speaking ritual, then immersive input, the shadowing technique, active vocabulary journaling, and finally, the really crucial one, the feedback loop. Let's dive into that first habit. Habit number 1 is all about making the physical act of speaking English feel normal, automatic even. Just 15 minutes every day, talking out loud. You can describe what you're doing, like, okay, I'm making some coffee right now, or talk about your plans for the day. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's to build what you can think of as mouth muscle memory. The key here is consistency, not trying to say complex things. Okay, next up is immersive input. And honestly, this one is fun. The whole idea is to spend at least an hour every day just listening to or watching English content that you actually enjoy. We're talking podcasts, TV shows, music, whatever you're into. When your brain is entertained and engaged, it just naturally starts to absorb the language, the rhythm, the vocabulary, without all the stress of formal studying. Habit 3, shadowing, is a real game changer. Here's how it works. You listen to a native speaker, and you try to repeat what they say as they're saying it, almost at the exact same time. You're not just copying the words. You're trying to mimic their pronunciation, their rhythm, their intonation. The source actually calls this borrowing native fluency until it becomes your own. It is fantastic for sounding more natural. All right, habit 4 is all about making your vocabulary actually usable. So instead of just writing down a single word, you write down the entire sentence where you heard it. Then, and this is the important part, you create your own sentence using that new word. This is what moves vocabulary from being passive knowledge, something you just recognize, to active knowledge that you can pull out of your head and actually use in a conversation. And the 5th and final habit ties everything together, the feedback loop. You have to actually talk to people. Find a language partner, join a conversation group, whatever works for you. The point is to use your English and get feedback. And remember this key idea. Mistakes are not failures. They're just data. Every mistake is a clue that shows you exactly what you need to work on next. So you've got these 5 powerful habits, but you might be thinking, how do I start all of this without getting totally overwhelmed? Well, that's the great part. The system has a super clear step-by-step action plan to build these habits into your life over just 1 month. Let's see how this works. In week 1, you just focus on 2 things, your daily speaking ritual and your immersive input. That's it. Easy enough, right? Then in week 2, you layer in the shadowing technique. Week 3, you start your active vocabulary journal. And in that final week, you integrate the feedback loop by finding someone to talk with. By the end of the month, all 5 habits are a natural part of your routine. And this quote right here, it just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. It's not about some heroic 10-hour cram session on a Saturday. It's about the small things you do every single day. That is what creates real, lasting fluency. At the end of the day, this is all about turning this information into action. So take a look at these 5 habits and just ask yourself, which one of these could you start realistically today? Just pick